News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset yell. Okay, so I played the audio of two advisors to Kamala that have visited her in the White House and the White House in general over 50 times in the past 3 or so years, saying F white women and such, and praising the open anti-Semite Louis Farrakhan, and he praised her back and said he loved her at a public event not too long ago. And we also know her pastor, 6 days after 9/11, said, at a ceremony with one of the 9/11 victims, a gay man whose partner was killed on, I think it was Flight 93 over Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And he was in the audience along with Nancy Pelosi, former California Governor Gray Davis, and I think Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer at the time. All liberal Democrats, obviously, and he got up on stage. He was as part of the memorial, and he shamed and blamed America 6 days after 9/11. He said, "Ooh, America, what did you do?" And several of the Democrats I mentioned, former Governor Gray Davis, I think, and another one, I can't remember which one it was, Pelosi or Feinstein, or one of them, they walked out. The partner of the gay man who was killed, the flight attendant, wept openly afterwards because of what the man said. And Feinstein or Pelosi wrote a scathing editorial attacking him like the next day or so in one of the San Francisco papers. And that's her pastor. And she called him and prayed with him. And she found out she was going to be given the presidency without any votes a couple weeks ago. So she's super tight with him, and he's worse than the Reverend Jeremiah, right? Remember him? No. GD America. Obama threw him under the bus. Kamala hasn't said anything. She doesn't talk to anybody. She only goes out and reads scripts and has people that sing about their big big fat, you know what, down there in their pants, and their wet other thing down in the pants in their songs. And by the way, 10,000 people showed up. It was like saying it's a huge rally. Well, when a woman who can probably sell out that auditorium for a concert you pay, $50, $100 for or so, shows up, and it's probably free for that event, obviously. Maybe it was a $20 ticket just to go see her concert and to give to Kamala for donation. I don't know how it worked out, but 10,000 people is nothing. A lot of them were leaving. There was video of it. I retweeted it on my Twitter feed the other day when it happened. After 5-10 minutes into Kamala's speech, they were walking out. They wanted a free concert. I don't blame them. Anyway, here's some other positions she said. Here's her. This is a brand new ad from Trump supporters, like a Trump PAC. She says how Bidenomics worked, or Bidenomics is working like 6 or 7 different times over months and months and months, that everything was working. And then today we see we're almost going into a recession. We may be on the beginnings of a recession. Here she is. Listen to this. You're going to love this commercial. My questions for you. Why do you think Kamala hasn't had a press conference in 12 days or any sit-down interviews since she said she's going to be the president? And how do you think she'll do when she did in her first unscripted contact with the media last night? I played it for you. It was a disaster. She repeated herself twice in 20 seconds. And what kind of a picture is beginning to emerge in your mind of Kamala's policies and issues? 800-288-WBAP. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. 800-288-9227. Here is the brand new commercial about Kamala saying Bidenomics is working.
Bidenomics is working.
Meanwhile, most renters feel like they will never be able to own a home.
The typical starter home is now worth more than $1 million. For many buyers, that means achieving the American dream of owning a home is increasingly difficult, if not impossible.
And Bidenomics is working.
Listen to this stat. Since 2020, food prices have increased 26%, and we are all feeling it when we go grocery shopping.
Bidenomics. It's working. It's a term we're very proud of, I must tell you.
Gas prices are on the climb across the U.S.
Prices are nowhere near the levels they were at in 2020.
And Bidenomics is working.
So if you get 3 consecutive monthly readings on job gains that are less than 125,000, I'm beginning to smell a recession.
Bidenomics is working.
It's working.
Yes! Yes! And did you hear her cackle interspersed throughout the commercials? You hear it in the background a little bit? At the end of, it's working. How do you feel? Is it working for you? You like it? You tingling down there? Thinking about buying now? Ooh, I had all that money in the bank. I didn't have fat stacks of money in my bank account. Did you look at your 401k today? Everybody in the business world said do not look at your 401k today. It's collapsed, comparatively speaking, because of the horrible jobs report and the unemployment rate going up. Remember what Kamala said. Here, let's see it again. Ready?
Bidenomics is working.
It's working. Here, Kamala says, there's a whole bunch more here. Let's see. Bully Kamala Harris berated staff, left them in tears, and berated them with F-bombs, and the intern was told to never make eye contact with her. Sounds like a great woman for president. Blame it on Kamala Harris. This is from the Free Beacon today. Vice President gave lenient plea deals to murderers, domestic abusers as DA. Kamala is touting her tough-on-crime prosecutor. She put murderers and abusers behind bars in a new ad blitz. It'll have to contend with her record, which includes lenient plea deals with probation for a string of career criminals, a serial domestic abuser who later murdered his girlfriend, a repeat felon who gunned down a newspaper editor in her hometown of Oakland, and others. Here's another one from the Wall Street Journal. She said she rescued struggling California homeowners. The problem is that settlement for $18 billion with the banks, about $5 billion, half of it went to people that already abandoned their homes to the banks to do short sales so they could make their money back, and there was nobody in the house. It didn't save their mortgages. So that was from the Journal saying, oops, didn't go like she said it did. Here's another one. This just came out today from the Washington Times. This is really bad. Kamala once threatened to use a database of gun owners to send the police to their homes to take away their guns. In August of 2019, she promised in a Democratic presidential primary forum that she was prepared to take executive action to get everybody's list of guns that you own and take them away. Don't worry, she's on it. And Bidenomics, by the way, is working. Taliban lawyer, listen to this. A Taliban lawyer has a new client, his sister-in-law, Kamala, a powerful, quote-unquote, new campaign advisor. Her brother-in-law, he defended a convicted terrorist sentenced to 20 years in prison for fighting with the Taliban and colluding with al-Qaeda. He is now a powerful advisor to Harris's new campaign. Allahu Akbar! And did you hear in that repertoire of quotes from her in her campaign that I played for you a couple days ago or so, that she is, I played it for you, so she said it on the record in front of an interview, that she supports allowing felons, including Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Remember the Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the brothers Tsarnaev, who blew themselves up blew the Boston bombing up and killed people that were the Boston Marathon bombing, and shot and killed cops on in the Boston area as they were hunting him down, and then hid out. Remember that in the back of a boat in the back of a yard, and was yelling Allahu Akbar and was shooting at the cops. Brother died. He survived. He's in jail. Kamala even said, yes, I would allow him to vote. So, we got a couple more soundbites. I'll play when I come back, and then we're going to get into something else. The economy. I promised to get into this story about housing. Several suburban Wisconsin people. Suburbs are what matters. That's where people can vote and swing both ways. Not swing in their relationships, but swing in their vote. You'll hear what they say about Bidenomics and housing. And we'll ask you, how much do you blame Kamala and Joe for our inflation and our poor economy and jobs and a fear of recession kicking? And how much do you blame Kamala and Joe for that? And how do you think President Trump did in his last term? What do you see happening if he takes over in 6 months with the economy and with inflation and housing and insurance and everything, all those prices? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. That's next. Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. How much do you blame Kamala and Joe for our inflation and poor economy and jobs, and now the fear of recession kicking in, according to many reports? And how do you think the president how do you think President Trump did in his last term, economy, inflation-wise, and what do you see happening if he takes over in 6 months? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. The introduction of being possibly at the beginning of a recession came in today after the very low jobs report. And then we had the last 6 months of 5 of the last 6 months jobs reports were all revised the following month and way lower than they reported. Some of them slightly lower, some of them way lower. But all 5 of the last 6 months, the jobs you hear about, oh, it's great. And they were adjusted 29,000 lower than the next month than they were reported and such. And then the Nikkei in Japan fell as a result of this. In America, the Nikkei fell 5.8%. The exchange in Germany fell. The exchange in England fell. Like it's just because of ours goes down, then theirs goes down. They're intertwined. So I think if Trump got in, I think what we would see is we'd be going back to the time when inflation was low. I mean, the last day he was in office, inflation was 1.4%, which is perfection. It's literally exactly where you want it to be, slightly, but barely, comparatively speaking. And Joe and Kamala, within a year and a half, made it 9.1%. And the saddest thing is when people say, will the grocery prices ever go down? And the answer is no. And I looked it up and I found out, and I saw what the experts said. It's never going back. I had a listener ask me that, so I had to find it out. So everything has gone up. And thankfully it won't. Now, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal I wanted to share with you from Wisconsin voters talking about the economy. Again, 800-288-WBAP. Chime in right now. How much do you blame Kamala and Joe for our inflation and poor economy and jobs and the fear of a recession kicking in as of today? And how do you think President Trump did in his last term for the economy and inflation? And what do you see happening if he takes over in 6 months? 800-288-WBAP. Median sale prices in Wisconsin, one of the very important swing states. It's one of 7 states, maybe 8, that will make or break this election. Kamala did one of her first appearances after being coronated as the presidential candidate for Democrats, with median sale prices up 8% in 1 year, this past year in Wisconsin. They are not happy there. The Journal says today, Wall Street Journal, Milwaukee metro area. They went into the metro area and they talked to suburban women, guys. These are the ones whose vote will make or break Trump or Kamala. I always thought we were a more reasonable place to live, says one woman who grew up in the nearby suburb of Kenosha, where the Brat Stop is. It's a famous place for brats, but it's also like a bar and a nightclub. I have seen Loverboy there with my friend, believe it or not, about 20 years ago. Maybe 25 years. I can't remember exactly when, but my buddy and I went. It was fun. When I was in town in Chicago for a visit. It's out of control, and I blame the people in charge, she says. So that's Kamala and Joe, she says. A July Wall Street Journal poll found that voters rank housing as their second biggest concern when it comes to prices, only behind groceries. A few years ago, one woman said, this is a Marquette Law School research fellow. A few years ago in Wisconsin, it was realistic to afford buying something while making $50,000. Not anymore. Here's the key. A few years ago, you could buy a house making $50,000. That was at the beginning of Biden-Kamala. A few years ago was. Not a couple, which is 2, a few, which is 3. When Trump was still president, this woman a self-employed makeup artist who lives on the border of Milwaukee and Wauwatosa, or as they call it for short there, Tosa. I'm serious. I had a job right by there for radio in 2001 to 2004 or something like that. She blamed both Biden and Harris for not making anything better. When Trump was still president, if we were making what we make now, we would be set, she said. A 39-year-old woman, a separate one, said that the challenges she faced during the house hunt with recent rent hikes will be on her mind when she goes to vote in November. She did not vote in 2020, interesting, but she backed Hillary in 2016, so this is very telling. Now she's leaning towards voting for Trump this fall. You hear that? Hillary, which is the antithesis of Trump, she voted for Hillary over Trump in 2016, which is crazy, right? I'm saying crazy because she lost. And that literally is the antithesis of Trump. She was the anti-Trump. So she voted for that, for her. I'm not saying that criticizing Hillary as a person. I'm just saying she voted with that. And now she's leaning towards voting for Trump. My dollar went further when Trump was president. See this? This is what you face, Kamala voters and Democrats. My dollar went further when we supported Trump. And by the way, she said it properly. It's further. Farther only refers to distance. So when somebody says we just need to go a little farther, push this farther, distance is farther. Doing something further is what she said, and she uses it properly, just an FYI. My dollar went further when Trump was president. This woman runs a small jewelry business. I don't know what to expect from Kamala. See, I told you, I don't know what to expect from her. Well, what you learn is this. Listen to this. If you're illegal, these illegal kids, she said you cannot say Merry Christmas. She yelled at us for saying Merry Christmas, as long as illegal kids didn't have amnesty. This is Kamala. Listen to this.
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
Until illegals get amnesty, we cannot say Merry Christmas. She's the Grinch. Here she is as a limousine liberal caught living the high life on campaign funds.
Last year, Harris was the target of reports by the National Journal and Orange County Register, which documented what they called her lavish spending from her campaign fund accounts on luxurious hotels, luxury car services, and first-class airfare. The Hill, an online government news site, quoted former aides as saying she treats the campaign fund like a personal checking account to fund a life of luxury.
Should it raise questions in the public mind about if you're a senator, how you will...
I'm going to pause it. We'll continue, but that's Kamala being interviewed. I think that was when she was as a state attorney general of California, running for senator, and she's literally, her aides turned her in and said she's living on the high life on the campaign dollar. She's going in first class luxury, and all she is a district attorney, or the DA. What is it called? The Attorney General of California. She's not the Senate yet. She's already doing that, okay? And she's caught. Now, I got one more coming up next. I'll play the rest of that. And then also, you'll hear her force that I, as Attorney General, forced California to pay for sex changes of any prisoner. And I, as a California Attorney General, forced the policy where men will go to prison with women if they say they're a woman. Where rapes have happened in California because of that in the prison system. All that's next. Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Also next, new survey of Texas electricity shopping shows overpaying is real. Are you overpaying? I cannot wait to talk to you about this. I have a lot of energy info on this for myself too next. In just a moment, we'll get into electricity prices. I want you, if you don't know what your electricity rate is, you really should. And don't worry, though, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but you can pull it up on your plan right now online if you're like me and you have it saved. I even think it might be on an app on my phone. I don't even know. But on the dude that does the bills. Just click on my link to the thing and it goes right to it. And I click on the password. It's already saved. And then you can see what your plan is. Take a look at it. We'll talk about that in a second because you very well may be overpaying. And I'll tell you why. A brand new survey was just done of Texans, and it says, in fact, most people are overpaying for your electricity. So the oppressive bills you have, or the bills you have, they're like, why is it so high? I think I have your answer. And thankfully, this survey was reported on by a guy who I'm a big fan of, not on his politics, but on his reporting when it comes to being an advocate for consumers. And Dave Lieber, I think he still follows me on Twitter. I follow him. I guess I should ask him if he wanted to come on tonight, but he came to our 100th anniversary party. That many of you came to with, and I had the privilege of being handpicked by my boss too. I'm real proud of it. I loved it. Being the host of the bus trip, you could buy a special bus pass, like a VIP thing. And there was about maybe, 50, 100 people on the bus. And I was your tour guide on the bus. And I got to use I was when I was a little kid, all I wanted to do was take the microphone on the plane or on the bus and talk to you, And so I did stuff like that, and it was silly, but I was also real, and people had a lot of questions about what we do and what it's like, and this and that, and it was really awesome. And the most wonderful thing ever is when these people who have been on that with me call in or send an email and say, I was on there and you were awesome. We really appreciate you, and thanks for being so open. That made me feel good. And when I was making some jokes spontaneously, and we did, part of the event was downtown Fort Worth at the Broadcast Museum there, where I am up there. There's a mug of me up there and Hal and all of us, which is really, really it's very honoring and appreciative of me. I had a picture taken of myself there, and I've autographed it, but nobody wants the autograph. Nobody wants the picture. Just kidding. Anyway, when I was on the bus, and then we came over to Dallas for a tour of the station with the VIPs. So you're on the bus going for 30 minutes or 25 minutes. So I was narrating and cracking jokes the whole time, and people were asking questions. It was fun. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But I had a couple more quick sound bites of Kamala and where she's in trouble. This is her. I kind of paused it, but she's busted for living the high life by her own staffers turning her in to the news, and they're investigating it, and she's busted. She's confronted by the news. This is as she's the Attorney General of the state of California running for senator, and her own aides turned her in for living the high life. And here we go.
Look at money spending, which is always...
Let me rewind a couple seconds.
Should it raise questions in the public mind about, if you're a senator, how you would look at money spending, which is always an issue in Washington?
There were issues that we needed to address early in my campaign around correcting course, which we did, and I'm very proud of the work we did in that regard.
Classic Democrat, I'm proud of the work we did. The people that work for you turned you in for bilking the donors and turning it into 5-star hotels or 4-star hotels and first class, whatever, these luxury trips or luxury accommodations. And you say, I'm proud of the work we did. It was corrected. You mean you corrected yourself? You mean you got caught and so you changed your habits? That's literally what it is. So, okay. And then one more. Kamala saying in an interview with a transgender person interviewing her that she's proud of her work of being Attorney General and forcing the state to pay for inmate sex changes and forcing men that say they're women to go in with women in prison. And unfortunately, there's been several cases we've seen, some in California at least, of men raping women in the jail and impregnating them against their will.
Last year,
Wait, hold on. Here's that one.
With the power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing forward the movement, frankly, and the agenda. So look at my record to know when I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. But I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections. You can just look at all the work I've done over the years to know. I feel very strongly about this, and at its core, it's a civil rights issue, it's a justice issue, and it's an issue of humanity.
You paying for a man to get his hoo-ha cut off and to slice it up into a JJ is a civil right, and you're going to pay for that. You shut up, you get to work, you pay for, if you're a plumber or electrician, you don't get your truck paid for, your loan paid for if you're a business, but you're going to pay for a person making $150,000 a year as a professional 5 years out of college or law school. You're going to pay for their tuition, and you're going to pay for the guy who wants his junk cut off and replaced with a JJ. And that's a civil right. And if that man wants it, now God forbid, and I really mean this from all my heart, if your sweet daughter or mom or sister or nephew or niece is troubled and they go to jail, this woman wants to force, and she'll do it federally, she wants to force a man that says he's a woman to go in there. And some of them are raping the women. And your daughter could be raped, or your mom or your wife, if something, God forbid, I'm not saying anybody's going to jail, if something did happen. Now, if you're a Trump supporter, you're probably going to go to jail anyways because they come for us, Okay, it's a little bit of a joke and kind of not a joke. But no, but if you go to jail, she wants to have us pay for that, whether we go to jail or not. And if somebody that we love goes to jail or care about, they might get raped in there because of her saying it's a civil right to be able to go in there. There you go. So clearly Kamala is moderate. But I think my favorite one that came out today is that she publicly supported, when she was running 4 or 5 years ago, when she was running for president, getting all of our names from gun registers and registry, and forcing us looking our names up and what guns we own and forcing us, coming to the door and forcing us to surrender our guns to the government. She literally said that. I mean, this is all realistic. I mean, you can come take my AR-15, ma'am, and good luck. You ain't going to get it. And you're not going to like how it goes down, however you want to do that. Take away my constitutional right. I'll tell you what, I'll surrender my gun when you are willing to surrender your First Amendment. You want to trade your first for the second? For my second? See how that goes. You shut up. You can't say anything. You can't defend yourself. We censor you on everything. And then we'll talk. Now, new survey of Texas. That was fun. New survey of Texas election. I don't know if it was for you, but it was for me. It was as good. Oh, I don't want to talk that way. That's for my wife. Sorry. What's going on here? Come on now. Somebody bail me out. It's Friday night. Yeah, TMI was just told in my ear. TMI. This is a family show, sir. This is family business we're talking about. I don't know what you were thinking. Get your mind out of the gutter, you sick man. New survey of Texas electricity shopping shows overpaying is a thing, reports Dave Lieber, the watchdog for Dallas Morning News, who I'm a fan of. He is the guy that writes the Bible on electricity prices and how to hunt for them. Did you know that? And I always tell you this, and I love advocating for people and for you and for sharing with you what I have learned. And you may know more than me, so probably don't. I'm on the radio. I'm a big deal around here. I mean, this is brain surgery, what we do. One of the guys I work with in this business said it's rocket surgery. Like, what the hell's rocket surgery? But a new survey of Texas electricity shopping, this is a statewide survey, shows that people are overpaying most people. And I'll just share what he says. Bottom line, you are likely paying too much for electricity. You're buying into the repetitive showing of ads promoting, quote, free nights and weekends. You're happy with your so-called bill credits, too. It's all a ruse. If you have, and this is, I knew this. Listen to me. I knew this, and I endorse this with all my heart. And I do radio and I do endorsements, but it's different when you have, no offense to Matthew McConaughey, when you pay Matthew McConaughey to advertise something for you for a statewide Texas ad, a lot of people are going to think, okay, this has to be good. If Matthew McConaughey's backing this up, then I'm going to sign up for it. Guess what, though? You know how much they pay Matthew McConaughey to say that? And I'm not ripping him. I'm just telling you, if somebody's spending God knows what to get you to buy an electricity plan that's only available to Texans, that's your hint to not go there. All these main companies that you think are the good ones to go with are not. And what's funny is I'm in my 15th year. I haven't hit 15, but I'm in like 14 and a half almost, of living in the great state of North Texas. I lived in Texas before in the late 90s, and it was the best thing that happened to me in the world. I loved it. Always wanted to come back to this wonderful place. And but in my almost 15 years, I have never gone with one of these. I've only gone with the name brand ones by happenstance twice. The other times I go with ones I've never heard of in my life. I will explain how you do it and how the watchdog and his advice today, but he has a Bible that he writes, and I think he's updated every couple of years, and it tells you how to hunt for electricity. And I'm telling you this, I literally, every year to 2 years, I will, my electricity thing comes up every year or two. I never automatically renew. And if you're doing that, you're paying way too much. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt you here, but you really are paying way too much if you're doing that. Never auto-renew. Never go with these name brand companies. You only go with them if they happen to be offering the best deal. And right now I'm actually with one of the big name brand ones, but not because I want to use them because they're name brand. It means nothing. They don't even bring the energy to you. They have nothing to do with it. They just provide the energy. They buy energy on the market or whatever, and we pay for it. But they don't provide it. That's Encore. So it's like, well, I need them. They're good. No. All you need to make sure is customer service. Sorry, I'm going off on my I got to do that next. Here's the question I want to throw out there for you now, and I'll give you all of his advice and my advice. And I have busted out my plan. I know how much I'm paying per kilowatt hour. Look yours up, and we'll share. I want to see. You might have a better deal than I, but it's possible you don't. It's depends on when you need to renew. and where the markets are. But I'm going to tell you how to do it and why you're overpaying. Most likely, most listeners are probably overpaying. Sorry to say. I want you to call in, and tell me what you're paying. And if you don't know, what's your average monthly bill and what the size of your house is. So like, hey, Chris, I got a 2,500 square foot house. My average bill in these hot months is blank. It'll be fascinating. I know it differs based on what kind of an AC unit, how big your house is, and such. But I'm telling you, I think you're overpaying. We'll get into that coming up next, and I'll give you the tips from him today on News Talk 820. I won't give it to you today. I'll give it to you next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM 93.3. Call in right now on this if you'd like to. And the question is, what are you paying per month for your energy bill, or in kilowatt hours, or just your total bill for your average during the summer? And maybe, if you want to just do the summer one, that's fine. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Dave Lieber, Watchdog, Dallas Morning News, great guy. The influx of free electricity ads I recently wrote about, he says, reveals part of the story. The headline, by the way, new survey of Texas electricity shopping shows overpaying is a thing. Channel 8 had this. They did too. So it's a nice news story you see out there today, tomorrow. He says the influx of free electricity ads I wrote about recently reveals this part of the story. Companies like TXU, Reliant, Direct, going to advertise. Are they going to advertise their least profitable plans? Let me ask that again. Are these companies that advertise all the time? TXU, Reliant, Direct. Are they going to advertise their least profitable plans to you? Hey, get this plan, whether it's the least profitable? No. They're going to advertise the one that makes them the most money to get you to buy it. And what is it? What's making the most money? Well, this company surveyed 501 customers in Dallas and Houston. They also scour, he says, the electricity company websites for the latest kilowatt per hour prices. And they found out free nights and weekend plans, which I listened to that, I'm like, that's a scam. Well, it's true. Free nights and weekend plans cost 30% more than what it calls traditional fixed rate plans. What does that mean? It's about $1,400, $1,400 in excess payments in a year. So you're paying about $15 a month more than most people are? And that plan's giving you free nights and weekends? You figuring this out? He says customers love their bills, another marketing tool, but their bill credits. It's another marketing tool, but the study shows credits cost almost as bad, 24% more than fixed rate plans. That's an extra $1,000 a year in payments. Do you want to pay $1,400 a year or $1,000 per year extra than I do? Then buy a nights and weekends free plan, or buy the credit plan because you build credits. Of the 501 customers surveyed, he writes, the 87% wanted the cheapest plan. That's exactly right. You want the cheapest plan. When they were presented with 10 different plans, 98% were, listen to this. This is really sad. And this is a commentary on people, and it's also a commentary on the way you pick energy in Texas, and I'm not a fan of it. Of the customers surveyed, 87% wanted the cheapest plan, but when they were presented with the 10 different plans, 98% were unable to figure out which one was the cheapest. 98% of people could not figure out which plan was the cheapest, and that's why I think you're overpaying. So here's my question. What are you, chime in right now, 800-288-9227 is our number. Line's wide open, 800-288-WBAP. What are you paying per month for your energy bill? And if you don't know the amount, but you know the kilowatt hours, that's fine too. Or both, it doesn't matter. You can just tell me what your average summer bill is and your house size, roughly. So I'm at 2,000 square feet, and my bill that just came in for last month, it takes a month and it comes in, was $197. $197 for, I have 2 HVAC units and 2,000 square feet. And I got 3 adults right now. We just added the 4th one. He just came back from Japan. So next month is projected to be, next month is going to be higher because of it's August, it started maybe a week or two ago. So it's projecting out to 220 for next month. So we'll see what it is. So 220 in August, which is July into August, it's got to be probably the hottest time, or if it's not the hottest month, it'll be tied with September, right about the same thing. You say everything's 100 degrees. So that's where we're at. and I'm paying 14.3 cents per kilowatt hour. All right. And you see what you got to do is, how much time I got now? 30 seconds? None? What? Okay. What you got to do is you got to realize, just look at your average for the last bill, last year. Just look at the bar graph and it says the numbers. You got to figure out and do the average of what your average usage of what energy is during those months. For me, the 1,000 kilowatt is right about where I'm at. And if you go over 2,000, it can be horribly expensive or even cheaper. Mine is even cheaper at 2,000, but but at 1,000 it's 14.5. At 2,000 it's 14.3. At 500 it's 15. I don't ever go to 500. Now, look, that price sucks compared to what I used to get. I used to get 9.8, 10.3. But we are in a different world with this Biden regulations on everything and trying to stop fossil fuel usage. So we'll get to yours next. Call in. What are you paying per month or in kilowatt hours, whatever you want to say, and what's your average summer bill? And what's your house size? We're going to talk about what the kind of rates you're getting and why you might be overpaying. 800-288-WBAP. I'll give you some tips, too.